You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's Mostly Mavs podcast, where we give you game time reporting, a weekly pod, and, content that mostly surrounds the Dallas Mavericks. I'm your host, Kate Garza, journalism major at the University of Oklahoma, with aspirations of being a sports journalist for the Dallas Mavericks. On today's show, we're going to be covering last week's games, of course, like we do every week. We're going to go into Naji Marshall and Max Christie's trade value. Don't trade them. And we're going to answer the question if Kyrie should come back and a little bit of trade deadline predictions. But first, let's start by getting into the games from last week. So we started against the Warriors. Dub from the guys. Over at the stat sheet, we had Caleb Martin with 20 minutes and 0 points. I'm not going to knock him, though. I'm not going to knock him. Naji Marshall with a 30 ball. Great game from Naji. He continues to be an offensive threat on this team. He continues to just offer, playmaking and scoring that the team continuously lacks right now. And what I don't get is if you're lacking the playmaking. I understand Ryan Nemard. He's kind of having a little bit of a little rough patch turnover-wise. In this game, it didn't seem like he really had too much bad going on, but I'm not really understanding the push to continuously have Naji or Coop out there to play the point guard position. Really doesn't make too much sense to me right now, but, Naji Marshall, when he's dropping 30 points a game, you can't complain too much. He's playing like a real championship level role player, and when you have somebody like that, when you have that luxury, you're going to want the ball in his hands a lot. So, especially when we don't have AD, Coop has been all right. He hasn't been bad. He hasn't been terrible, but he's not been in his form since that stretch where we were like, oh my gosh, this kid's going to be a generational talent, which I still believe, of course, he's going to be a generational talent. But when he's not dropping, 28, 10 and 6 in a night off of great efficiency, you might just want to have a point guard out there. But that's just my thought. Max Christie in this game, 21 points, 2 assists, 1 steal, plus 28 on the floor. We did win by 18 points. No, 8 points. So that was a little math problem right there. 8 points. So, yeah, that plus minus looks great. 20 plus 28. Yeah. Great game from Max Christie. 5 for 12 from 3-point. Sorry, today. It's been a busy week, dude. It's been a busy week back at the town. Back in Norman, got to socialize, got to get out, got to have some fun, every once in a while, got to be a student. But hey, we're still getting these out, so just be thankful for that. Dwight Powell. Enough said. Dwight Powell. I love him so much. He's my Pookie Bear. But, this game made me think Caleb Martin, he's having a great month. He's having an amazing time over here in Dallas right now, but 20 minutes a game, still starting. I know PJ, this was his first game back, so he came off the bench, which I kind of agree with. In this game, it looked like PJ didn't really have too much going for him. I understand that it's, one of his first games back. Maybe, I think it was his first game back from being injured and personal reasons from Brittany, whatever her name is. But, we'll get to PJ in a little bit, in a second. But, just a dub. Extended the win streak to 4. Let's go to the team stats real quick. Team stats look... Oh, that's not... No. Team stats versus Warriors. Taking forever to load. Team stats, we had 13 3-pointers made to their 15, which was all right. Steph freaking had a game against us. 38 points from Steph Curry, which is just like, anytime you play the Warriors, you have to worry about them coming back in the game, and they made a bunch of efforts to come back in this game. But, Dallas was able to close it out, which is kind of a luxury right now to see them be able to close games. It's not been very fun in the closing moments. We played, I think, still the most clutch games in the NBA, and they're still struggling to close games. But they're able to close this one, which is great. Won the rebound battle by 20, which, isn't too surprising because you're playing an undersized Warriors team. They notoriously are an undersized team. They thrive with that, with their ability to switch, with their ability to play 5 out, and create problems on the perimeter with their shooting, their amazing shooting. I mean, there's a reason they were a dynasty. There's a reason why they are always a good team, and it's because they know their bread and butter. They stick to it, and we were lucky to come out with a W on this game. I won't lie, but a great game. Rebounding was definitely the end all be all for the Mavericks closing this game. Which, good game. Not too much to hate about. 27 fast break points, 66 points in the paint, 24 second chance points, which is awesome. Correlates to our rebound win. Yeah, not too bad of a game right here. But we go over to the Lakers game. Welcome back, Luka. It didn't feel like too much of a Luka homecoming again. I remember whenever they were doing the pregame introductions, they didn't give Luka his normal aggressive introduction like we would see from our, what are they called? PA announcer? What's his name? I don't know his name. But we didn't see that. We didn't see an energy surrounding Luka too much. I heard that there was some MVP chants during the game, but it wasn't crazy. Just a different feel, I think Dallas is starting to understand that the city, at least the fans, which is good, that, we have our guy now. We have Coop. We moved on from Nico. The wounds are healing. Some fans are still in La La Land, hating still, which I don't understand. You say you're MFFL, and then you turn away from the franchise. Some of y'all, hey, do what you want. You're your own human. But over here, I'm still going to support my guys, and I'm still going to cover. So 10 3-pointers made to their 14. They killed us in the rebound. Kind of killed us in the rebound battle. Offensive rebound battle, they won. They just, took control of the game at the end. Lost a 15-point lead, which, bringing it up again, fourth quarter struggles are killing the Mavericks on a consistent basis. The defense looked all right. We won the turnover battle, but you're playing a Luka Doncic team with multiple playmakers on the court, LeBron and Luka. They're going to throw a little bit of turnovers, so you'll have that. And, I don't really look at a turnover battle win as 4, but Mavericks had 12 turnovers, and that's good for them right now because they're averaging about, 19 or 20. So fast break points in the paint, second chance points, all dubs on Dallas' side, but it just wasn't enough to take home the victory. Again, you just lose a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter. It's not going to be a good outcome. But let's go over to the stats of the game. Caleb Martin, 17 points. This is what you're getting with Caleb Martin. One game where he has 20 minutes and 0 points, and then another game where he has 17 points. But this has just been him for the past month. I guess kid's still fine with him starting. PJ came off the bench again. PJ only had 2 points, -9 plus minus, 1 for 5 from the field, didn't make a 3, 20% shooting percentage. It gets better. I promise. Naji Marshall with the signature game again, 21 points. He had 2 assists, 1 steal, 3 turnovers. I've been seeing the Locked On guys, Nick and Isaac, saying, Naji if you're going to have the ball in your hand this much, then the turnover ratio, the assist to turnover ratio has to be different. And I 100% agree. I love Naji Marshall so much. He's brought a level of basketball to our team, a level of scoring that, Dallas hasn't seen in a second. And it's aiding them a lot, and it's giving them wins. It's one of the reasons why they're almost 10 games under 500 right now, which I believe is the threshold that they need to be at if they wanted to make a play-in push. But you have to be 37 minutes a game. You got to have more than 2 assists. You got to have more contributions offensively other than scoring, which he's great at getting his head down. He's great at getting downhill, getting the floater up, getting mid-range shots, banging out 1 or 2 threes, hopefully 1 or 2 threes in a game. But he's got to move that ball around a little bit more, and I'd say a lot of people would agree with me with that. Cooper Flagg, 16 points, 6 steals, 16 points, 6 assists, 2 steals, -4 for the game, 7 for 20 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3. I mean, just to say it's probably more of an average Cooper game. He's still an 18-year-old kid. You have to remember that, and he's going to have some games where he's not shooting the best, but you still want him shooting about 20 shots a game, so that's all right. Sorry, one of my buddies is calling me. Dwight Powell, 24 points, or 24 minutes, 0 points, 7 rebounds, 3 offensive, 2 assists, 2 steals, plus 13 on the court. Dwight, his body out there just makes it better for us right now, especially when Daniel Gafford is not playing to his full self. He didn't even play this game because of, I think, an injury management. Or did he? No, he played. 16 minutes, 2 points, 1 assist, 2 blocks. I mean, Daniel Gafford, he's amazing for us last year. He's amazing for the Dallas Mavericks last year. Amazing to bring them to the finals. But ever since this ankle injury in the preseason, I haven't seen that burst out of him. I haven't seen the athleticism out of him. He hasn't been getting up and down the court like he usually does. And those ankle injuries, especially for those athletic players, it takes them a little bit to get back to full form. And judging this next game, the Timberwolves game, we see a little bit more out of these two guys that just destroy their ankle, PJ and Gafford. But you got to understand there's going to be hiccups in the road. These guys it's going to take a little bit to come back. I borderline broke my ankle thinking that I was a D1 athlete at Sarkey's Fitness Center in Norman, Oklahoma. And it took me a little bit to get back. And I don't think I'm anywhere near the caliber of basketball player pickup-wise that I used to be, but we'll get into that on another day. Klay Thompson seeming to slow down just a little bit. 14 minutes, 6 points, 2 made threes, only shot threes, which I'm not going to complain about. He gets on heaters. I mean, he's a streaky guy. It takes him a little bit to get into the season, notoriously, in his career. So seeing him with his ups and downs, you have to understand that, volume shooters, they're not going to shoot 40% every game. They're not going to shoot 45% every game. He managed to shoot 40% in this game, but kid's probably not seeing something enough in him. I couldn't explain to you why Klay Thompson played only 14 minutes whenever he was a reason why y'all are winning games as of late. A reason why y'all even got on the 4-game winning streak to start with. Scoring 26 and 23, staying in that 20 points a game threshold over the past week or two. Why he only sees the court for 14 minutes. It could be defensive purposes, maybe, but we need to be more aggressive offensively. They need to get more aggressive, trying to get the ball in the hoop, which I agree that Max Christie does a pretty good job at that right now, but having both of them on the court at the same time is just as good. To be able to space the floor, to be able to get in there, to be able to get guys to attack closeouts like Naji and Coop, and you just want to have that luxury on the court, and I feel like they're not utilizing them that much, but it's all right. Go over to the Timberwolves game. Just a game that Dallas never really had a control of. Julius Randle, 31 points. Ant had a off first half, but he kind of picked it up in the second, hitting a few threes. Dallas they never really had control in this game. And this is going to be a short one. It's going to be simple. We'll go over to the stats right now for the game. You don't see Coop in here. whenever Cooper, AD, and we haven't even seen Kyrie yet, but whenever Coop and AD are not on the court, it changes everything. And seeing both of them not on the court, you're probably not going to win games because, Naji can't just, score 30 points without a guy next to him, without somebody to take the attention off of him. And PJ had a good game. He had a rough first half, but he came out guns blazing in that second half, scored a lot of his points in that second half, which is very promising. If he can get to that first month of the season kind of era of him, this basketball team's going to get a lot better. And to see PJ get shots up and actually be aggressive, get shots in the hoop, get balls to actually fall through the net, it's very promising for the team. But Daniel Gafford, 21 minutes, 14 points. It's the first time in a minute we've seen these two guys start together, which is promising. But 5 for 8 from the field for DG. 68% true shooting percentage. You can't really hate the guy. You can't really get mad at it. No blocks. No. This game, it was really hard for me to honestly pay attention to this game because it was just, whenever Coop's not out there, whenever AD's not out there, it's just a, never mind. Okay, never mind. But moving on from those games, it was an all right week. It was okay. Like, you lose 2 games, you win 1. The one out of the 2 games you lose, you don't have your guy that you need to win games. So it's understandable. I'm not upset about them losing these games. Luka coming back, it brings back emotion. It changes the game. It definitely changes the game. So as long as they're staying around this mark, it's fine. Nobody really has to worry if they're staying around this mark because I still am under the belief that this team can make a push to get in the play-in. That they should make a push to get in the play-in because we look at last year, I understand that it's an anomaly, but they got the number 1 pick being the 12th seed, or being the 12th likely odds to even get the first round pick. So I'm not saying at all that I'm predicting that the Mavericks can get the first round pick. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that, a pick is a pick, and to get a pick in the lottery, you're putting your name in the hat, and good things can happen out of that. And if you're at the top of the list for odds, or bottom, whatever, how you want to place it, top or bottom of the list of odds, there's still odds. There's still a chance that you're going to move up. There's not really a chance at all that you're going to move back. So I don't see a point in tanking for the rest of the season when you have this roster, when you have these guys, you have these championship level role players like Naji, like PJ, like Daniel Gafford, like Max Christie. All these guys can take you a long way, and having Coop, Anthony Davis, and Kyrie Irving on the court, even though that does not seem very possible right now, you have to see it. You have to see it out. You have to roll the dice at the possibility of that happening. But done with the games from last week. Let's move on to if Kyrie should come back. And I've kind of already touched base on this before, but there's been reports that come out recently about Kyrie. He's all right. He's ready. He's ready to come back. He's working out. You can see in the Instagram post from the Dallas Mavericks that he's drenched in sweat as he works out. His camp has kind of stated that he's ready to come. You have to bring this guy back. 100%. The one thing that this team is struggling with right now is closing games. And you have one of the best closers of all time sitting on your bench. You played in the most clutch games this entire season. And you've lost a majority of those clutch games. There's no reason not to bring him back. There's no reason not to bring this guy back when you have offensive struggles, when you don't have a true playmaking point guard that can do everything. Like, Ryan Nembhard is amazing. I love Ryan Nembhard. He's a playmaker. He's a pure playmaking point guard. He's also 5'11", doesn't have the handle that Kyrie has, doesn't have the ability to get to the basket that Kyrie has, doesn't have the mid-range shot that Kyrie has, doesn't probably have the three-pointer that Kyrie has. And he's also Kyrie freaking Irving. any question to not bring him back is like swirling. Like, bring him back. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about bringing Kyrie back. You're struggling with shooting, or you are. You have Brandon Williams out there that's shooting 19% from the field. You're struggling with shooting. You're struggling with shot making. You're struggling with getting back into games. You're struggling with closing games. You have somebody on your roster that can do all of those things. I'm under the understanding that it's on Kyrie's timeline. That's from a report from the Haymaker podcast, from Mavericks Digest. He said he's got some good sources, and they said that, it's Kyrie's timeline. It's not the Mavericks timeline, which I agree. That's something that's a good thing. That's great. So if he wants to, if he's ready, the Mavericks should not put a cap on him coming back, because this guy's good and he can do it. He can take you to the promised land. I'm not saying the Mavericks are going to win the championship at all, but I'm saying if you want a chance at it, if you want to make a run, you've got to have Kyrie on your team. So those are my thoughts on Kyrie, but also Naji and Max Christie. What is their trade value? Naji Marshall said, we want a first-round pick for Naji Marshall and more, which, okay. Max Christie, they've already come out and stated that, they want him to get in the playoff. They want him to get in the three-point shooting contest. I love that. Okay, do not trade Max Christie. And do not trade Naji Marshall. These two guys have shown that they have an ability to raise the floor of your team as role players. They've won you games. Max Christie is the only shooter on this roster right now outside of Klay Thompson. And the more you talk about these things, the more your locker room is going to probably get divided a little bit. I don't know if Naji Marshall wants to know that, hey, we love you, man. You've been scoring an amazing scoring at an amazing clip. You've been bringing us back into games. You've been putting us over the top to win these games. And, we love you. You're all right. We love you here in Dallas. But we take a first-round pick for you. We'd send you off. Why even talk about that? Why even put that out there? Just there's some things that you do. I understand. I've said so many things about the Mavericks PR and that I just really don't like it, and that they don't come out with information enough. But there's some information that you come out with. And why are we getting reports that you would give away Naji Marshall for first-round pick? That's just not. You don't want that going around. I don't believe Naji Marshall's getting traded at all. I don't think that's going to happen. Same with Max Christie. He's shooting 45% from three. He's 22 years old. You got him the Luka trade. If you trade this kid, worse things are going to happen for you. I promise that. And I mean, that's basically. There's really not too much going around in the Mavericks universe right now. So just take it as it is. There's not too much going on right now. So we're gonna get into the trade line. My trade line predictions for the season. I've got 4 points right here. First one being Anthony Davis is not getting traded. There's no way. There's no way on this earth that Anthony Davis is getting traded. We've been waiting for, at this point, probably 2 months, at least, talking about, hey, we're going to move this guy, or hey, we're looking at offers, or hey, we're still in the race to want to move this guy. We're still looking at possibilities to see, if people still want him after the hand injury. It's January 29th. Nothing's happened. It's gone. It's not happening. Anthony Davis is not getting traded. He's going to stay on the Dallas Mavericks. If anything, they'll move him in the offseason, which I don't even know if that's going to be a thing, because if Anthony Davis comes back, if Kyrie comes back, if Coop is back in the roster at the same time, and Dumont and ownership and management, front office, they see that they're playing at a championship level, at a top 5 team in the NBA level, they're not going to trade him. But who knows? What I believe is they really need to get off that contract. They really need to find a way to build around Coop like they have stated they're going to do. And if they state they're going to do that, you should probably look into doing that. So if they were going to trade AD, it's probably going to happen in the offseason, but it's not happening by the trade deadline. Giannis either goes to the Knicks, possibly the Heat. if not 100% in the offseason. This Giannis thing has been going on way too long. And there's been rumors, especially earlier in the season, that it was going to be the Knicks, and I 100% believe that it's probably going to be the Knicks. I don't really see any other team to make a push towards getting him. I've seen some rumors around, maybe Charlotte. Charlotte could be a sleeper team for Giannis. I'd say that he wants to stay in the East, so it would probably be the Knicks, the Heat, and Charlotte. But I don't. It's this deadline's not going to be good with these new aprons, with these new contract scenarios, and all this stuff going around in the NBA right now. There's been so many changes, and they're not friendly towards trading. They're not friendly towards long contracts. The Mavericks made it happen, but anyways, Giannis is either going to the Knicks or he's probably not going anywhere. But Ja Morant is not going anywhere. Nobody's going to want to deal with his antics. Nobody's going to want to deal with that. At this point, he's not going to go anywhere. I think the only team that can handle him and that will handle him would be the Heat. But is Pat Riley really going to take a chance on Ja Morant? Maybe. Okay, he might experiment with it a little bit. He's done similar things in the past. That's what they need. They need a guy that can get to the rack, get downhill, be a playmaker for them, be somebody that, breaks defenses. Tyler Hero's great, Bam's great, but they don't have that just dominance at the guard spot. You could say that Tyler, he's a great scorer. He's an amazing scorer. But is he dominant? I wouldn't say so. Ja Morant, when he's on, which is getting rare, but he's dominant, and that's what they need. That's what they're looking for. And the Heat are probably the only team that I would see taking a chance on somebody of that stature. And then, I don't know why I put this in here, but it kind of fits. Kuminga, no clue. I literally wrote that. Kuminga, no clue. For what is it? Is it 2 years now or a year? May have been 2 years by now. But you've been talking about trading a role player for nobody wants him. Like nobody wants him. And the Mavericks, oh my gosh, Mavericks report that Kuminga and the Mavericks have mutual interest. No. Get Kuminga as far away from the Dallas Mavericks as possible, please. I do not want the guy on my roster. Do not want the guy on my roster. He's a great basketball player. I'll give him that. But defensively, he's lazy sometimes. He's a talent. He's athletic as crap. He's 6'8". He jumps out the gym. He's a pretty decent scorer interior-wise. He's got a little bit of mid-range shot, too. The three ball hasn't really came around. But, skill set-wise, any team would take him. But antic-wise, what he's done to the Warriors organization, the leverage that he thinks he has, and honestly, the leverage that he thinks he has across the entire NBA. He's demanding a trade, but nobody's wanting to trade for him. Their general manager came out and he said, yeah, if there's a market, if you demand a trade, there has to be a demand for you. I completely agree with that. Kuminga has no trade market right now, in my eyes at least. And I would be surprised if a team took a shot at him that is a contender. I don't think he's going to go to any contender. No contender wants that. Somebody's going to take a shot on him. But, we'll see how that works. Jimmy Butler's out for the rest of the season with the ACL injury. So, who knows? Kuminga might turn his thoughts around on the organization and want to take a chance, want to see if he can be that level of a player that he believes he is, not on the level of Jimmy Butler, but what he believes he can be. Who knows what they can do? Who knows what he can do? But yeah, it's to close it out. It's been a very lackluster week, kind of Mavericks news wise. There's been some trade rumors going around about Naji a little bit, but not. They kind of dismissed those. They won a first round pick and maybe a little bit more, which would be beneficial for the team. He's on a team friendly deal. He's up for contract. He might be up for extension soon. He's got a couple years left on his deal. there's no really reason to move him when he's playing at this level, especially. And Max Christie, he's got to be untouchable at this point. They basically stated that he was untouchable by saying, we're just trying to get him in the three-point contest, which makes a lot of sense. But don't move a guy like Max Christie. Don't move a guy like Naji Marshall. This trade deadline's probably going to be very lackluster, unlike whatever happened last year. But yeah, that's basically been it for the Mavericks news for the past week. But thanks for watching Most of the Mavs podcast. It's been a very fun episode with y'all. Expect more pods, more live reports, more Mavs content, and for more Mostly Mavs, follow the Mostly Mavs X account, TikTok and Instagram, stated in the description below. I'll catch y'all later.